Hey guys, welcome to the Butterfly Podcast. Um, my guest is Dr. Bridget Tan. She's a doctor, author, and a speaker. She's uh, well known in podcasts, and she has very good, interesting facts about herself and enjoyable. Bridget, you want to introduce yourself?
Sure, thank you. Thank you so much, Alexis. It's my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me with you today. And thank you so much for joining us, everybody. And so I am Bridget Tan, and I live in outside Los Angeles, California. So it's really nice and warm here right now, a little warm actually. And as Alexis says, my background is actually in veterinary oncologist. I'm a board certified veterinarian medical oncologist, but I am also an number one international best-selling author on my book Seeking Peace, as well as I am a speaker, a global speaker, and also a coach. And my specialty is in helping people transform their grief. So transform our tears and failure to treasures and victory, and also to thrive through tough times, and doing all this with ease and a lot of fun.
Sounds very interesting.
Thank
Um,
you.
for being an author, because since I'm an author too,
Mhm.
I'm a part of a book series, and
Yeah.
we're for number one in I think in Nashville or Kenyan. Um, but it's nice to have those titles like you do too. But what made you decide go into being an author?
Great questions. I love that questions because I used to hate it and was so afraid of writing. Even in my native language, which is Indonesians. I came from Indonesia many years ago now, but even in my native language, I never enjoyed writing. And to write in English with all the complicating grammars, it's like just like complete nightmare to me. And so what drove me to become an author is basically, it's like nudges from life or calling or something that just keep telling me to write my experience. So what I guess I'll take a step back, and some people say, so what make you go from being an oncologist to be a grief specialist and coach and speaker and author and so forth? So what brought me to doing that from being a doctor is my life experience. Back in 2011, I I I went through a series of events. It started with seemingly to me, an out of the blue divorce, and that's only open a Pandora box of like nine different grievous event in a matter of 2 years. And at the end of that 2 years and 10 different disaster, I was in so much pain that I wish I could die. I really wish I could die, and but I didn't die. And after a while, I said, well, if I have to stay alive, then I might as well thrive, not just survive. And I'm going to do that somehow with ease and fun. And I didn't know how, but that's actually when I started my journey into personal development and grief recovery for myself, just to help myself to be able to survive and to thrive again. And then fast forward just a couple years, I look back and I realized that I have gone from broke, heartbroken, sick all the time, miserable all the time, to living a wonderful life of peace of mind, very important for me at the time. Peace of mind and joy and love and more abundance than before, and even more as importantly was better health than before. I used to have a lot of health ailments, and I look back, I'm like, I'm healthier than I was the 40 years before. And so that's when I started to say, this is a very valuable skills and tools that I have mastered. and definitely something that's worth sharing with people. And so I started to get more educations and training to become a grief specialist and a life success coach. And then actually with the book, fast forward to last year, to 2019, I keep having this thing of, you got to write a book, you got to write a book to help people. And I keep saying, no, 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 not me, not me. I have to become a board certified specialist in oncology, you have to publish in peer reviewed journal. And it was the most painful experience. It was just miserable, and, and also in a lot of other journal, it was like yuck, no. And so I keep saying no, 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 no. And then I went through a few events last year, not as many events, but each of them has a lot big, so-called bigger stakes, a lot of bigger consequence. It's basically having everything in life fell apart again out of the blue. What happened is one of them was I was just for no reasons, and still nobody could tell why. It's out of the blue. My dominant hand, my right hand, lost function completely in a matter of 2 weeks. I was perfectly fine, and 2 weeks later, it was so weak I could not hold a pen like this. And all the top doctors in LA, the concierge medicine, everybody, the specialists couldn't figure out why. And at the same time, strangely enough, my mother suddenly got quite ill, and she lost so much weight. She got so sick that I thought she's not going to make it. And then also my relationship for 7 years with my companion and my number one supporter and shoulder to cry on dissolved just like that. And so everything happened all at once again. But the difference is I noticed during the time and afterward, and a lot of people who know what I went through and keep telling me, like, I did not go through any of the anguish. I didn't go through any of the despair and distress and anxiety and everything. I continue to sleep well at night, and I just being able to keep going and become not by being Pollyannish, but actually by practicing all the tools and skill by step and day by day, keep practicing them. So that's what drove me to write the book, when I realized that these things not only able to help us to be able to recover our life very well and quickly, but it's actually as we are going through things, because we go through things like right now, everybody in the world practically going through COVID-19 related changes. We can actually go through things and continue to thrive, to have ease of mind and peace. And that's basically the book is about. It's called the Proven Five Fingers Method, to thrive through change effortlessly, because I streamline all the tools and skill into 5 core things that each of them correlates to one of our fingers. So, but that's what drove me the book, because to realize when I said, and I said, well, it's basically people deserve this. We all deserve to be able to have peace of mind and thrive regardless of what's going on in our life. It's not just when things are good, but when things are tough. And so that's what drove me to write the book, is when I realized how valuable these are, and everyone who wanted it deserved to know it.
That's a good statement. Like for me, it's hard for when I wrote my 2 chapters, and I'm like, I can't do this. I can't do it. I can't keep. And I'm like, okay, I have to try.
Mm-hmm.
Like for me, I do pageants. I'm trying to win them. So I get sponsors. I need to do this, doing that. I'm like, okay. But like you, that is totally very good statement how you got into your book, because I think when we are doing something that is good, we're helping ourselves and healing others. So like my books are healing stories,
Yeah.
and I'm with another 20 authors in one book and another authors of 14, I think. in one other book, and we're all healing every
Mhm.
day because we
Yeah.
wrote our stories, so everyone else knows, hey, this is what happened to us. This is what we're healing ourselves right now, and
Yeah.
that's what you're doing to yourself. You're healing your own self.
Mhm. Yeah.
Like when you say your hand was kind of did not work, that is uh telling you, the body telling you to do something else.
Yeah.
And when your body tells you something, you gotta do it somehow.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. It's almost like I think life been telling me to write a book, and I said, no, 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 and then it's like, smack, here we go. You're going to write the dang book. So it's like, okay, let me, and it's in a way funny that you say it that way, because once I said, you know what, okay, I can see this now, and I can see why I it's good for me to write the book, not just for me but for everybody. And it's like you just have this peace and ease, and you surrender, which is one of the things that we do when we have a challenging time. We surrender to it and say, okay, you know what, I will write the book, and let's just see that my hand will be healed in the way that I would love it, even though by then it was like tens of thousands of dollars of tests, and multiple doctors couldn't figure out why. And sure enough, I write the book, and the hand heal in with a few $100s, not tens of thousands of dollars. And so it's like life works in an interesting way.
True, it does. So there's another question for you.
Mhm.
Um, what makes you go from being a veterinarian, her doctor, to a grief transformation coach? That's very interesting to find out about that. From a
Yeah.
doctor to the coaching.
Yeah, and so what makes me go from being a veteran, from a doctor to the coaching is, well, first of all, I work with grief for as long as I've been a doctor, being an oncologist, being a cancer specialist. Cancer and grief is kind of side by side, with cancer. And I'm yet to, all these 20 years, I'm yet to find a person that got a diagnosis of cancer and said, yeah, I got cancer. It doesn't happen that way. It's usually, oh God, I have cancer. Oh, somebody I know have cancer. And so cancer and grief go side by side. So I've known the grief, how to help people with grief for some almost 20 years. And then with my own life experience earlier, last decade in 2011, when I recovered from it myself, I realized that it's something that can really help people to be able to have somebody who can really understand this in multiple different facets. And also, if you listen to my I have a Facebook live every day, and also from the book and a lot of other things, to use science, not just the psychological, but also actually, because I understand the science and the biology to a fair good degree, to use them in being able to help people through multiple different facets and seeing it multiple different way. And so I just feel called to be able to help people beyond the wall of my hospital. I still actually work as an oncologist a couple days a week, but I feel called to be able to help people even more beyond the wall of the hospital. And that's why I became a coach and a speaker and an author.
That's good, because if you're outside, they would listen to you a bit more, because as a coach, you'll be like, hey, I know what it's like. I'm not like a doctor who kind of, hey, here's your medicine, go.
Right. Yeah.
Like a
Yeah.
coach is more one-on-one, more personal, and it's better. Because I know what's cancer like, because my dad has cancer. And so we're in the family, we're like, okay, what to do? Let's make him enjoy it, treatment, since it's only radiation, because he had a
Mhm.
open heart surgery 6 years ago.
Oh.
Lucky the doctor sent him to hospital for a heart test and kind of say, hey, you're staying home. You're staying here. we're going to do a surgery on you.
Yeah.
So it was like, oh, wake up call. So, and then the cancer part was funny because it wasn't, doctor told us he had cancer. It was a puppy.
Oh, what?
A pup. My
Oh,
little
wow.
puppy. My
Oh,
little
wow.
puppy, who's maybe a couple months old that time, or maybe
Mm-hmm.
a year old, and kind of knew he had cancer. So we were like, oh, yeah, this is true. No wonder the dog is going crazy with you.
Yeah.
But it's neat how, like, you're going from a doctor view to a coaching view is totally different stories. I'm
Yeah.
hoping on your
Yeah.
part.
Yeah. Yeah. It
So,
sure is.
what are some tips for surviving through the changes and tough times when with more ease and fun? Pressure right now is COVID.
Yeah. Yeah. So a few tips that being able to thrive through tough times, through changes. First of all, to realize that when something happening out there that is not our normal routine, two things. One thing is Viktor Frankl, who is a psychiatrist, uh, and wrote says that an abnormal behavior in an abnormal situation is normal reaction. So if something out there not normal, something out there is unusual, and we feel upside down and inside out. We feel, we feel like we want to cry. We got angry. We feel frustrated. Whatever. All of those are normal behavior, and I think that's the number one thing is to realize that when something's off, and you feel off, instead of saying, oh, I shouldn't be feeling off. I should be just brave, and I should let go all the should and just allow ourselves to be, just allow ourselves to say, this is sucks and I'm gonna cry. This is sucks and I need to go in my car or close the room or somewhere and I got to scream on top of my lung because that will make me feel better. So the first thing is to allow our feelings, to not make ourselves bad, because a lot of time, and also with the time of social media, we kind of like look at Facebook and Instagram and all these things, and we're like, oh my God, look how cool and calm that person is. Well, you don't know, that person might go in and cry and scream. Like with myself, for instance, not with COVID necessarily, but like when things happen to me, like let's say I from time to time my grandparents passed away, my best friend passed away, all these things. I have this thing where I would just kind of like close all doors or just sit in my balcony and cry for anywhere from 1 to 3 days straight. And so just allow yourself to be who you are and do what you need to do. If it is taking a bubble bath, so be it. If it is skipping your normal dinner and eat popcorn and ice cream for that night, so be it. And, if it's going for a walk, if it is turning off everything, and so be it. So, just allow. The first thing is to allow ourselves, because it's not right or wrong. When we, a lot of time people say, oh, I feel bad that I feel this way. But the truth is to know that feeling is not right or wrong. There is no right or wrong feeling. I equate feelings and like your fingerprints. We know, like, every person has different combination of fingerprints than another person.
True.
If you truly look closely at your hands, each hand actually has slightly different fingerprint pattern than the other one. So what that means is that when we are having tough times, our feeling can change. When we have a tough time, grief by definitions, by the grief recovery specialist, is the conflicting feelings caused by a change in our normal or in our routine. And so when things happen, when we're grieving, grief is like fingerprint, and therefore we're not asking to be in certain way. We might see something this time and we feel this way, and we might see something the next time and feel completely different, and that's okay. Allow ourselves just to be. And then the other thing is, when we're having tough times, we want to, of course, allow ourselves, we want to cry, but also to hold a 2 thumbs up outcome. And what it is, it's basically, okay, things are sucks, but instead of getting dragged down and say, okay, I'm in despair and there will never be a light, there will never be a change because people say such and such and such, we can cry, we can scream, but hold a 2 thumbs up outcome in our mind and say, you know what, I don't know how, but I'm going to get through this, and I'm going to have a 2 thumbs up outcome at the end of this. There will be a light at the end of the tunnel, and it's even better than before. And because when we have that as our guiding light, we're going to be better, and we know that there will be better after every storm eventually ends. Every winter, even the darkest winter eventually end. And so we know that hold the 2 thumbs up outcome, that yes, even after all these things, there will be something good. Napoleon Hill says that every adversity, every heartbreak, every failure has the seed of greater good in it. But we got to find the seed and grow the seed. Now, if if we're so swallowed by our adversity and changes and tough time, COVID or anything else and we forgot to look for the seed, then we will not have the fruit of that, the greater good. So hold a 2 thumbs up outcome and start looking for the seed of good, even as we cry and even as we scream. And then that will allow us to be able to act accordingly, to take the steps that we need. Do we need to talk to somebody? Do we need to call the bank? Do we need to file something with the government? Do we need to have call someone we love and just cry and have a shoulder to cry on? And then also not just to act outwardly. I said when we act, we need to remember to act outwardly, but we need to act inwardly as well, to take care of ourselves. When we're stressed, when we have a lot of things going on, our immune systems become compromised. And of course, with COVID, particularly if you mentioned COVID, we want good, strong immune system. So get the sleep, get the nutrition, get the rest, and so act outwardly and act inwardly. And then I would say to also say the F word.
I think I've been doing that last couple of weeks.
Well, there is two.
I've been stressed about my work, and
Right.
they've been bullying me so much. I'm like, okay, I'm freaking out. I'm going crazy. I'm doing this. And the only thing that saved my behind right now is my dog. I can talk to her, and she doesn't talk back, but she knows what's wrong.
Right.
Like a dog is a very smart animal. And some people don't understand that if dog is what they call it, best friend. It is a man's best friend because we talk to them, but they don't back to you. But they do it in a way of showing, and that's what mine does.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, kind of what I did is I bought or adopted a puppy from Mexico, and when I saw her, I was like, that's the dog I want. I want a dog who had a rough start of life and made her life a lot better now than before. Because I want her enjoy it. Like I'm spoiling her with treats and who knows what.
Right.
And taking her to the beach. Because that's where she came from mostly, is the beach. So I'm like having fun with her, and she's a very social butterfly too.
Oh, that's lovely. That's wonderful. But actually, the F word that I was saying, it's actually children appropriate. So it's a different F word than what a lot of people think. And you can say that F word too, but the F word that I have in mind just now is fabulous.
Fabulous. Ooh, that
Fabulous. You can say, like if let's say you have somebody I mean, it could be a situation, but particularly if we're dealing with people that, sometimes some people are just seemingly there to test us, so to say. One thing that I learned to say, and this happened a lot when I was going through things, one thing I learned to say is, okay, well, we can raise the middle finger, or we don't even have to, but we can say, well, you can have whatever problem you have, but I'm fabulous, and you can have all the problem, and I'm staying fabulous, and even be and more fabulous as I go. And so say the F word, to them, and say the F word for yourself, which is you are fabulous. You are absolutely fabulous. So that's one thing. And then, I would say to do gratitudes, to have what I call forward fortitude with gratitudes, because gratitudes will immediately, and we're not being Pollyannaist, we're not dismissing our circumstance and situation, but what we do is we're grateful for what it is that we still have. If you were in my place before, where I was not grateful that I was alive, then at least I was great. We can be grateful that we have clothing on our body, that we have a roof on our head. We can be grateful that we are able to breathe without a machine. And so, taking whatever the little action and the little step we can, and doing it with the best attitude we possibly can, which is forward fortitude, and doing that with a little gratitude. And then, just have fun and allow ourselves to have fun, to find joy in the little things, like the little puppies and the little butterflies.
sure.
I found my butterfly necklace, and I was like, butterfly things. I got to wear my butterfly pendant here. And, the butterflies out there and the little flowers, because it's in the little things that we can find the beauty of life, and bring good, build memories, and then just endeavor. We just take one step at a time, do the best we can, but not asking for perfections. And those are the basic things. And the book that I have, Seeking Peace, I mentioned earlier, this book here, it's actually shares a lot about it. That was just kind of like the surface sprinkle of that. And like you said, I like the story concept. The book has built of story as well. Every single things come with stories, because it's make it a lot easier. But those are just some of the things that I would say would really, really help, even if you just remember those. Keep visiting the podcast again to be able to move through any situations a lot easier, and win faster and easier as well, with more fun.
True. Like grateful, like when I do something nice now, like for me, being in pageants is we are volunteering.
Mm-hmm.
Since COVID is nowhere to do any events, and it's very hard. But I kind of learning now is okay. So COVID is in. Sure, no more pageants right now until next year. I could do things now offline, like um, let's do sponsors, get new sponsors, get work on the letters, work on everything. Like I've been kind of figuring out how to do things without being in a pageant right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And I'm
yeah.
like, woohoo, this is a lot better quicker now, because it's like, okay, you don't have pressure to do very quick.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, so I have 14 months to do this. Boom. I got 14 months of plans. Like my coach kind of told me is plan things.
Mm-hmm.
Plan
Yes.
your when you going to do this, when you going to do that, when you do this. So now I am. But I'm also doing is working a lot, but I'm also doing I volunteer every Sunday,
Oh.
the last 4 weeks or more. And all I do is just help them build up their food bank boxes
Oh.
and help 20 families in Maple Ridge area in BC. And there's only like 3 of us, our volunteers, doing it every Sunday. But it's also need like, hey, we need more volunteers. Like, how do we build up this?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm like, I want to be part of it. I'm like, take over and do something that is gonna be neat. Is do like the Salvation Army here.
Mm-hmm.
Take over a night and cook a meal with them. Have my volunteers come with me, volunteer, cook them a nice meal with a
Mm-hmm.
dessert, and have great time with them.
That's nice.
So
That's
since
well.
that, hey, Salvation Army, thanks for doing the meals every day for them. But hey, have a night off,
Yeah.
or
Oh.
stock up what you want for the rest of the week. Like I want to do that starting. I think did it a couple of months ago, but it was hard for me and one other person because we
Mm.
were only ones who doing it.
Wow.
We had volunteers, but they were in and out. But I would love to do it again.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see that. How does dancing help release grief?
How does dancing
Am
help
I
relieve?
kind dancing?
How does dancing? Oh, yes. You're asking because one of the things that I do, being a grief specialist, is I created a grief method, a grief support method called Dance Away Sadness, Move Beyond Your Grief. I think that's why you're asking that. So what it is, how dancing help with grief is actually a very interesting thing. If you some people might have heard the name Dr. Joe Dispenza, very well known guy, Dr. Joe Dispenza. And he says, which is very true, like if we listen to something or if we read something, it get into our mind. And that's how it landed. It landed into our mind. But if we have an impactful experience, so let's say you go through a situation, whether it is a good experience, let's say you get married, or you have a nice birthday party or something, or you have an impactful, undesirable experience, something like COVID or somebody passed away, any cause of grief, that get to us into the cellular level. It's not just in our mind, but it get into all the cells in our body. And so we know that the cells, everybody vibrates, everything vibrates, and the cell vibrates at certain rates. Now, as we know, many of us know that, when you listen to music, if you listen to music, you can hear like the vibrations of it. And so much so that some music actually, if you really listen to music with really like heart pounding tempo or something, you can feel even it's affecting your heart, like your heart pounding, right? And so that's because the music has its own vibrations. And then when we move, that's why exercise, not just dancing, but even exercise, is good to help us when we are sad or upset, because when we move, our cells vibrates in a different way. And so that when we are doing like in Dance Away Sadness, when we combine movement, freestyle movement, because our body truly actually a lot of time know, our body and our heart know what's good for us. So when we combine music, which vibrate at a different way than the normal way the cells vibrate, and then we combine movement, which is also help the cell vibrate differently, and then with Dance Away Sadness, it's actually combined with coaching as well. All those three combined together, it really helped kind of shook off your cell and get rid of, allow the cells to get rid of all the things that got to it that you don't want, which is all the grief and the sadness and the anger, and even the things that's been buried for like some 30-40 years. I have a lot of people that come to me with like long-term grief from their childhood. and they come usually for something else that happened now, and they release everything from the last 40, 50 years. And so but it's because it's allow the change in the vibrations, and by allowing our body and our heart to lead us, such that it's able to let go what it doesn't need.
And kind of let's give you, like, if you have a grief or a really stressing out, because you say you have cancer, and you dance is kind of relaxing your body,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
it's one of the best medicines if you think about it.
Yeah.
Is dancing.
Yeah, exactly. It is, and you don't have to be doing group dancing. A lot of this actually good to do just I started it by dancing in my bedroom. And that's how Dance Away Sadness started when I was going through tough time. And you do not need to be a dancer to start with. I didn't dance until I was 40. I didn't used to dance. A lot of people ask me, "Are you a dancer?" And I'm like, "Nope, I didn't dance. I never danced until I was 40. When I grew up, I was told I was a stiff, clumsy, ugly duckling who should never dance." So I stopped dancing at the age of like 10 or something, and I did not dance much before that anyway. And then so I was like, I never danced, and I was a stiff, clumsy, ugly duckling. So anybody can do that. And even if some people dance and jump around, but even if you just kind of move your hand and your arms, it still help. Just like you said, and now allow the music to relax you, and then your body to just flow and move the way it feels good.
I know for me, I'm a not dancer too. I'm awful in dancing. But like for being in pageants, we do opening dance.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like putting me in the back in the corner, hide me in the corner, and don't worry about me. But it's getting better too. But it's kind of like, hey, dancing at home when I'm stressing out, I feel better. It's kind of like you say, grief, kind of relax your body. You don't have
Mm-hmm.
to dance crazy. You don't have to
Mm-hmm.
dance. You don't have to show people that you're dancing.
No.
Kind of is your own personal.
Yeah.
You could dance and cry if you want. You could dance and scream if you want.
Mm-hmm.
Do anything we want.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, with Dance Away Sadness, it's designed such that it actually facilitates for you to scream and kick and stomp and punch and cry if you want to, any of those. So, but it's good to just move and dance and scream and cry and whatever that your body, and allow yourself to just be you.
So you have a new book. I think you talked about it already.
Yeah.
So what make is it the only book, or do you have any more on you? Like,
I
do you have
have.
any other books that you
Um,
did?
mhm. So that is the most recent book. Seeking Peace is the most recent book. I have another book that called the 40/40 Rules, and it's actually one of those that's multiple author. It's 40/40 Rules, which is 40, which is wisdom from 40 women's over 40. And so it's a group of us, 40 of us, and each of us write a really great chapters about life, about what we learned from life, about different things. But it's wisdom from 40 women over 40. That's another book that I have, is the 40/40 Rules.
Is both your books on Amazon, or how
They
do they
both
buy it from you?
They both on Amazon. You can Seeking Peace from Amazon, and then the 40/40 Rules is also on Amazon. You can also acquire it, particularly if you want an autograph copy. Then you can just email me. Support at burjit10.com. Seeking Peace And actually, they're on my website as well. I almost forgot about that. They're on my website, from grieving to joyfulliving.com. If you go to from grieving to joyfulliving.com and you go to the tab says books, you see both books in there, the 40-40 rules. And then it's actually a lot of people like you getting that for as a gift for women who are still under 40s. Like, here you go, this is what you can look for, you can learn. And then don't make our mistakes. So
maybe I should look at it because I'm 40 now.
right, and so they both on my website, from grieving to joyfulliving.com. You can get it from Amazon. You can just email me. If you get it from if you want it autographed, just email me, and I'll be honored to do that as well. So,
And I will post it on the comments after this podcast.
thank
The
you,
link
thank
to
you.
her website, her Facebook page. Also, since I saw your last podcast with Michael, another one from BC, about
Oh yeah.
you were doing something that was very interesting. I would like to know if you would do it to this podcast
Okay.
about the finger. Was it dancing or something? You did something. I forgot.
I
You
don't.
did. You were about the fingers.
Oh, the fingers. Yes, the five fingers things.
Yeah.
So that's the five different steps on how to move through. And thank you for checking that podcast out. That's, I forgot that he was from BC as well. I have a lot of Canadian interviews right now.
He's kind of my friend. That's why I've been on his show too. So that's how I connected with. Oh, Bridget. He said, "Yeah, Bridget's on my show too." I was like, "Oh, I gotta listen to it too." So I
What a
did.
small word. Yeah. Thank you for doing that. So yes, it was actually a little bit of an excerpt from my book, the Five Fingers Method of thriving through change effortlessly, and it was the five because the book uses five fingers. What I basically do is I streamline and simplify all the life skills and tools that we have, such that it's easy to remember, and therefore it's easy to apply and easy to change our life when we're able to remember and apply it. And so the first of the fingers is the thumb, which is to have a 2 thumbs up outlook, or having a 2 thumbs up outcome on our, even as we are going through tough time, even as we go through as we cry. The first chapter of the book, the thumb, is called 2 thumbs up tears, which is have a 2 thumbs out. Believe that you can have a 2 thumbs up outcome regardless of what's going on, even if you cannot stop crying. And then the second one is to act. And that is to act, to do what you can, even if it means you have to crawl out of your bed that morning, that day, to crawl out of your bed, and then to act outwardly, which is taking care of things that need to be done, call people that need to be called, and then also to act inwardly, to be and act inwardly is to self-care, but also to be kind to ourselves, which is the third one is to the third finger, the middle finger, that if we need to, we can raise our middle finger and lift our wave our middle finger to the situations or to people. But we can also lift. We can also say then, to allow ourselves to be ourselves wherever it is, to say that, hey, today I got to just sit and cry, or today I feel I really need to cry, or to scream, or what have you, and allow ourselves just to be ourselves. And then and if we feel like we need to to lift our middle finger to somebody, then do that without getting hurt, of course. And so, and then so the fourth is the fourth finger here, and the fourth finger is to move with forward fortitude, which is to take actions. To have fortitudes mean to have courage despite or during adversity. And so forward fortitude means to choose to be to have what I call chosen optimism. That with a chosen optimism, we choose to be optimists, and things are happening, but we are choosing to be optimists, and we are grateful for what's still good, and we take one little step at a time, doing as best as we can to be the best self. And sometimes the best we can would be, to crawl out of bed. But we know, like Jim Carrey, the actor, says that, we cannot we cannot vision something or want something and then go sit on the couch and never do anything else. So if we do want to be able to move through our tough times and recover well and quickly and easily, even if it is the tiniest step, even if you have to crawl, will eventually take you up Mount Everest. And so crawl if you have to, but take a tiny step as best as we can. And then the fifth finger is to just remember the little things, and remember the little dots. The little dots, we see dots, and sometimes we want to be able to connect the dots. Was a lot of time we're like, why is this happening? What's going on here? What's going to happen in the future? But Steve Jobs, the founder of Apple, says that in life, we can always connect the dots, those little dots looking back, but we don't usually able to connect the dots looking forward. So things might be happening in a way that we cannot remember. But if we remember the little thing, which is the first things, is there those little dots, we cannot see how they're going to connect looking forward. But if we just take the one step at a time, 5 years, 10 years from now, or even a year from now, we might be able to say, okay, yeah, that's why COVID happened. and and then just enjoy the little thing out there. Whether the little flower. A lot of time I love doing things where I'm walking on the sidewalk. I will and intentionally look for little flowers that sprouting out from the crack on the sidewalk, because it's just imply courage and determinations to me, and it's very inspiring to just see those little flowers. And so little things like that can help our take our mind off the challenges, and then to know that everything has an opportunity in that. So those are the 5 fingers.
So what would you say, this is going to be one more question, that what would you tell anyone to be inspired or empowerment right now?
Say that again.
Or what would you curse to tell anyone who listening to my podcast what's the best way to empowerment right now? That you've been a best or seller or author, global speaker, because I believe you've been speaking all over the world right now. And what would you teach someone who not sure what to do? Don't know if they want to be an author or don't want to be or they want to be a speaker, but how to get them into it. Because
So
that's how for me, I'm an author, I'm a speaker, I'm a podcaster, I'm a pageant, but I want to encourage anyone else to do things that others could do, and you could do it too. I believe anyone could be a author right now.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So if somebody want to do something, whatever it is, whether it's become a speaker, an author, or something, I think there were a couple things. Have clarity in what you want is one, of course. If you're not sure what you want to do, then have clarity. Speak with people that who has been through it, who has done it, so you can kind of like, okay, that's the experience I want. No, I actually really don't want that. So have clarity in one, and then take the actions that you can take right there, right where you are. A lot of time we're like, oh, we need this and we need that, but a lot of time it's take what we can, do what we can, one little step like a time. Like you were saying just now, actually, Alexis, you're like, well, there is no pageants until next year because of COVID, but you can take the actions that you can right now to do for prepare. Actually, it's give you extra time to prepare for the next pageants. And so take the actions that you can right here, right now. If you have something that you want to do, you want to be a speaker, let's say, and you're like, oh, there's no speaking engagement because of COVID. Well, look, there are online speaking engagement and all these other things. So take the actions that you can take, and then ask for help, because there is always, in almost always, there is somebody else who has been through the road and succeed in doing that. Let's say you want to become an author. Both Alexis and myself has done that. And so, reach out and ask for help, and ask for advice and things like that. And that way, it's almost like if you want to go somewhere and you don't know where to get there, you want to either have a map, or better yet, if you have those live GPS that can tell you turn by turn, right? So ask for help. And then the last thing is, I'm going to quote Winston Churchill, which one of his commencement speech was like the shortest one in history. And he says, never, 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 never give up. Because the journey is not always smooth, but we don't fail until we give up.
True. I agree. I think that is the best inspire, confidence, empowerment that I will encourage. Like for me, being what I am, I've been struggle for like I would never been on this state on podcast. I would never done a pageant. I would never done speaking events if I didn't do what I was doing 2 years ago. I did a challenge, and our challenge was go on the stage and do our mission statement. And shocking, I'm doing my mission statement right now. I'm kind of out in the public. I'm on the stage. I'm like kind of doing a lot of work, but I'm just enjoying it now. I'm like having fun, like
Yeah.
being in on like I wouldn't have done a podcast if it wasn't for you or other guests. Say, hey, yeah, let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, wait a minute, how can I kind of got you into it, but now I want to encourage everyone else. Like, do your own podcast. Go to do your own YouTube channel. Right now, it's crazy out there. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of people are doing YouTube channels. A
Yeah.
lot of people are podcasting, but it is now the new um, life now. Since COVID, we're
Mm-hmm.
kind of more virtual
Yeah.
than in person. But are we losing it? Yeah, we're losing our kind of our old ways. But there's only ways to improve it is
Mm-hmm.
changing it, but adding it to the little bit flair to it.
Mm-hmm.
For like pageants now, some
Yeah.
pageants do virtual. That's how I
Yeah.
do. But still, a virtual pageant they canceled this year due to COVID because of they have to do a live next level, and it would not be fair for us to be in it and then wait for months
Yeah.
to do it. I'm like, okay, sure. instead of a year or who knows what. But that's I was like, I don't mind. I'll wait. I'm just going to do more stuff. Like I joined a pageant in UK. And I'm like, this is different. I'm coming from Canada and I'm doing a pageant. Virtual. I'm like, oh, okay. And now I'm like, if it's no COVID next year, boom, I'm going to UK and doing that pageant.
That's fun. That's wonderful.
Like there seems that our society is changing. Like as being an author, our books are now on Kindle and digital.
Hmm.
I'm like, wait a minute, I could read my book here on my phone now,
Yes.
on my computer. But
Hmm.
it's not the same as in a book. Like this books.
Hmm. Yeah.
Like these books are the best. I read my book. I read all my stories,
Hmm.
chapters, and others because they're totally healing process. When I'm down, I'm on my book, or I'm reading my Bibles, or I'm reading my for the Four Agreement book,
Oh, yes. That's a good book. That's a really great one.
or I'm reading like it's a Bible book I got is kind of each day something different, and that's I love. I'm like,
Hmm.
oh, if I'm in a bad mood or upset, I kind of read other pages or go on my book,
Hmm. Hmm.
or I'll read statements on my walls like
Mm.
fives or the brave enough to be yourself or a journey of 1,000 miles of like I have a lot of messages on my wall, kind of like yours on your,
Right. Yeah.
but it's like that's a good statement to read.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Like I have them on my hands. I have two tattoos of two anchor words that kind of help me. Okay, I'm grieving this. Someone
Hmm.
passed away on my friends. Boom. Or I'm having a bad day. I need to look at my hand and say, I have to touch it and say, and read them in my mind and try calm down. Now, yeah, that
Oh,
work.
great. Yeah. Great idea. Great idea. So,
Hey, anything else you want to say tonight? Your I think all the questions I would like to ask, I kind of got it done.
oh, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So what I would do is I'll be posting your website,
Okay.
your Facebook group or Facebook site, your
Thank you.
LinkedIn if you would
Thank
like prefer
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
and links to your books,
Thank you.
and it'll be on my print or on my and upcoming. It will be on a website too with your picture and your link to this podcast.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're
Thank you so
welcome.
much. I'm so honored to be able to be with you today, to share with you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you to all to watch my video or my podcast tonight, and hope to see you guys next week with a special guest.
Thank you. Bye bye.